Evan, I'm curious. DeFi sounds like a playground for illicit activity, right? You don't have to give any information to a centralized exchange or modify information. Nobody knows who you are, and you can kind of send and receive funds, intercept and intervene. What are you seeing that's happening in DeFi? Now, I know your tool focuses on the off-chain, but I'm assuming that these attacks are a lot of conversations are happening on these messaging groups before they take place on the actual protocol. Is there any mentions of like, hey, let's attack this DeFi protocol or let's pump and dump this certain token that is connected to this exchange? Give us some of the goods on what you're hearing. What is some of that internal sentiment chatter that's happening but from these illicit actors?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think one of the problems with DeFi is it's not always a big enough market for these folks. That's part of the challenge is there's not enough money to be made, or there's not enough victims, or it's just too difficult to do. Look, part of that may be what we're looking at chiefly, so it could be our bias, but that's just what we're seeing. In terms of what tokens are they targeting, they're targeting everything. I think when we hear about pumps and dumps or price manipulation scams, I think the tendency is to think it's all meme coins. It's all coins that are worthless or that have no value or that have a couple 100,000 market cap or whatever. And the reality is when you look at the numbers, what's striking is that the coins that are being targeted for price manipulation scams and for pump and dumps, they tend to be major market cap tokens. They tend to be tokens with market caps in billions of dollars, going all the way up to like Bitcoin. And I think, sometimes we get that question. Frequently, I get that question is like, Bitcoin, how could they possibly move the market for Bitcoin? That can't be right. And I understand where that comes from, but then the response is, like people are moving the market right now for like GameStop and AMC, which are publicly traded commodities on the stock market. People appear to be moving the market for other commodities like Tesla and Nvidia. Why is it remarkable to you that they would be able to do that with Bitcoin as well? I mean, it's not remarkable to me. And the truth is that some of this activity is organized, some of it is not. But just to understand the way that financial markets are moving, sentiment and emotions play a big role these days in how people buy and sell and what their plans are with regards to these kind of commodities. It's not just crypto, it's every kind of commodity. And those emotions and those sentiments oftentimes are better kind of measurements of where things are going than the fundamentals of a particular company that is behind a commodity or a token that is behind a commodity. And so understanding those sentiments and emotions ahead of time is now becoming an essential part of understanding where the market is going. It's not enough just to say, well, that company or that token has a bright future or it doesn't have a bright future. That won't necessarily translate to gains or movement in the market. It sounds ridiculous. I think at one point, the idea that you can learn everything you need to know from Telegram chats would have sounded ridiculous to most people. And maybe it should. But the reality is that if you want to understand what the key influencer markets are doing and you want to understand what they're doing before they buy or sell or whatever they're planning, yeah, you have to go where these people are convening and discussing what they're doing. And that is, for better or for worse, it's Telegram.